Am I the asshole for letting my ex and my kids' half-siblings be poor when I could help? I have an ex with whom I share 2 kids, 13 and 12 male. Our relationship did not work out, and we broke up 7 years ago. Since I was the financially stable one, she wanted me to have full custody. I have had full custody ever since. She has visitation, but she only uses it intermittently. Quickly after the breakup, she started dating a guy, quote-unquote, with money. He is from overseas. She quickly got pregnant by the guy, and they had a son. The guy did not want to raise someone else's kid, so she moved 3 hours away and completely stopped seeing our kids for almost 2 years. It turns out the guy's money was actually family money, and when his conservative family found out about my ex and the baby, they cut him off. Also, their son had some developmental issues. She got pregnant again, and a few months later, her boyfriend left and returned to his home country. She is now 6-ish months pregnant, with no job, and taking care of a special needs kid. She called me last week and asked me for financial help. They are living out of a motel, and she is running out of money. I have a lake house about 30 minutes from her. She asked if she could stay there, and I said no. She asked if I would send her money. I said no. She called me an asshole. She said that I'm letting my family suffer unnecessarily when I have the means to help. I told her that I have no obligation to help. We have been arguing ever since. Am I the asshole? Tangerine Bouquet says, not the asshole. You have responsibilities to your kids, as did she, but she doesn't have custody, so let's say that that's not part of this particular question. You do not have responsibility to your ex or any other kids that she has. She can call you anything she wants. She's your ex. You can facilitate visitation or anything else that's for the benefit of your 2 children, but it's more than reasonable to say no to anything else. She needs to chase the other kid's father or other family down for their support, if she can. Abstract Engineer 2000 says, did she have second thoughts before leaving her own kids for another man? No. She was heartless. So then now she can't request anything. Louis V 25 says, not the asshole. You have 2 kids with an absent mother to raise. Don't let her guilt you. Helping in this case will lead to dependence. She'll not leave your home and expect you to support her. You should not become a financial crutch for an ex that makes really bad decisions. Having 1 or 2 siblings doesn't make you, specifically, your fiancé's family. If her kids are suffering, it's because of her poor decisions, not yours. Calling you for money and not for the kids she basically abandoned should say all you need to know. Shonuff says, if you allow them to stay in the lake house for any length of time, they'll be there until evicted. It seems as though OP knows this. She's being a deadbeat, she's made terrible decisions thus far, and it's so unfortunate when people have to live with the consequences of their actions, isn't it? This woman has not exactly done anything to earn anyone's sympathy here, like rubbing in your face her partner's money when it wasn't even his money, and then still deciding to have kids with him after he was cut off from that money. I don't know, some people they just don't learn, do they? It sucks to be her, but that's a her problem that she'll have to sort out. She's already abandoned 2 kids. What, she wants to abandon 2 more on you and try a 3rd time to find someone with money? Really normal behavior coming from that side of the fence. I think you're doing the right thing, OP, not the asshole for letting them be poor, because that's not your circus, not your monkeys. And now, onto the update. A few days after the post, I told my ex I would only respond if it was specifically about our kids. Well, she completely ran out of money about 10 days ago. She tried to squat in the motel, police were called, who then contacted CPS, and her kid was taken into CPS custody. I wish I had a better update, but that is the update. Fairy Fart Daydream says, not the asshole. She could have gone through a woman's shelter and social services. This is on her. Yes, there is help for mums out there. If she is homeless, it's on her. She has 4 kids to think about. Blue Green 1956 says, not the asshole. She quickly got pregnant by the guy and they had a son. A woman quickly has a son with a man who has money. I wonder. As for her request for your help, she really is an entitled, worthless piece of shit. She abandons her kids for a man, and she thinks that you should step up and bail her out? Bullshit. It's almost like she doesn't want to be held accountable for her choices. And Fries with Shake Booty says, if she hadn't completely ditched their kids to play house with another man, I'd at least think of how the kids would be affected if their mum was homeless. The kids don't have a relationship with their mum by her own choice. Way to set the bridge on fire, OP's ex. Yeah, just unfortunate situation all around. And I'm glad that OP is there to look after the kids that she has abandoned. It's disgusting whenever a parent abandons their child, and they do not deserve to waste oxygen on coming back to you and saying, hey, I need financial help. I know that you're financially supporting our 2 kids. Do you mind if I be the 3rd child so that you can help me pick up after my mistakes? Oh no, life doesn't work that way. Too bad, so sad. Like, sometimes you really just gotta go pick yourself up by your own bootstraps, and having your child taken off you by CPS because you're unable to get a grip on your own life is your fault, unfortunately. Like, yeah, it's definitely her partner's fault for flying away and not offering any child support as well. That's a terrible thing to do. He shares blame, but it's obvious he's not coming back for the kids, and she hasn't done anything to change her circumstances to make things better for her child. At the end of the day, life is unfair. Thank you for sharing your story with us, OP. I'd love to know what you guys think of this one down in the comments below. Our next post is by user TopSound3762, and it's titled, Sister-in-law is bitter that her ex proposed to me, and this got her banned from our family. Am I the asshole here for this? So my 27 female, fiance's ex, is now my older brother's wife. So my sister-in-law. To make it less confusing, my fiancé is George, my brother is David, and my sister-in-law is Ella. George, 38 male, briefly dated Ella, 34 female, 4 years ago. Ella wanted to get married and have kids, but George did not want this with her. He was also having a lot of issues back then. Partying, doing drugs, and not being the most reliable person. They dated for 6 months, and everything ended in drama because Ella was not able to make George want to settle with her. Soon after their breakup, she met my brother, and they got married 6 to 7 months later. So yeah, they moved really fast, and basically Ella dated her ex, broke up with him, met my brother, and got married to him, everything in only 1 year and a couple of months. I met George 2 years ago, and at that time, Ella was already married to my brother. Back then, I had no idea that George was Ella's ex. When George started to feel attracted to me, he changed completely. He quit drinking and doing drugs. He has been sober ever since, and started going to therapy, and overall became a new person. He did this because he wanted to change, and I've been with him during his entire healing journey. I am very proud of him, and we have a healthy and amazing relationship. Even if Ella was already married to my brother, she was furious when she found out I was dating George and that he was serious with me. She was so cruel and said a lot of nasty lies. She used to tell everyone that George was grooming me. I was 25 when we became a thing and he was 36. This is not grooming. She lied that George was abusing me, trying to get me to become an addict like him, and many other things. This ruined my relationship with my brother because he never did anything to make her stop. George and I announced our engagement to my family last week during my dad's birthday. My parents were happy for us, but Ella said, it must be nice to be the one to get the ring after someone else struggled to fix him. Oh no. Jesus Christ. Again, no reaction from my brother as usual. My parents told her to stop, but I just snapped and told her something along the lines of, he fixed himself, you piece of shit. And yes, it's nice to know that I'll be married to the man I love more than anything, and who loves me the same. But how is it for you, knowing that no one except my idiot brother ever wanted to marry you? Does it feel nice? My parents kicked them out after this. They told her that everybody had enough of her bullshit. She is insane because although being married, she is still bitter over the fact that her ex did not want her. She is officially banned from every family event, and my brother is now blaming me. So am I the asshole here in this situation? I don't think I am, honestly, but I also want to hear some unbiased perspective. My perspective is that this is two raccoons fighting in a dumpster together. No, this is my dumpster. I claimed it first. And then one of the raccoons just lights a match and just everything goes to shit. Croft Survivor says, not the asshole. But has anybody ever suggested to your brother that he get therapy? His wife has spent the past 2 years telling everyone within range that she is extremely bitter about the fact that her ex is happily in a relationship with not her. How is this not tearing him up? Anna Varkum says, not the asshole. And honestly, what the hell with your brother? Sounds like Ella just wanted to get married for the sake of being married, not because she was in love with David. Your parents made the right call banning her, but be cautious and hire security for the wedding day. She may try to pull some shenanigans and cause drama. By the way, at 25 plus, grooming is non-existent. You're a grown-ass woman by then. So she is ignorant on top of it all. No, see, you don't understand. That middle-aged 38-year-old was grooming a 25-year-old child. You don't get it. For those that don't get it, that was a reference to a previous video. Please don't crucify me in the comments. Environment OK says, this level of reaction from Ella after just a 6-month relationship with OP's now fiancé is unhinged. Obviously, Ella's actions and attitude would still be wrong, but I'd understand her feeling some kind of way if she spent 5 or 10 years dating the party boy version of George, only to watch him do a 180 as soon as he met OP. But Ella was only with George for less than 200 days. Not the asshole at all. OP, it seems pretty clear that your brother should have been just a rebound relationship for Ella, i.e., she was not in the right headspace to jump into that marriage the way she did. Maybe I need to walk back my comments about the 2 raccoons in a dumpster. I don't know. At the time, it was just so shocking to see 2 people throwing mud at each other like that, but it's not unheard of on here. I get that. It was just shocking that it was so personal and so fast. Maybe it's more like the woman yelling at the cat at the dinner table meme, who's like, I mean, I'm just here to have a good time. Why am I being attacked? But really, I don't see what you did wrong besides being in a relationship with him that caused her to get so angry. Like, that seems like a her problem, not a you problem. And the fact that your brother continues to stand by the sidelines and not do anything about it, oh man, I wonder whose side he's on. Thank God your parents laid down the law here and got her away because, you know, it doesn't sound like the last you're gonna see of her, but at least she won't be at these family events. You're not the asshole here for this one. She is very much unhinged. And now, onto the update. Thank you so much for all of your comments and reaching out to me. I don't know what I expected when I posted this. I guess I just wanted to receive some unbiased feedback from an outside perspective, but I never expected this. I was really overwhelmed with how kind and nice most of you were, so once again, thank you, and sorry for not being able to reply to all of the comments. For those who were not on the same page, I understand and respect that you have a different opinion. From my initial post, I have left out a lot of details because it's a long story, but some of you are curious about what actually happened and asked me to provide more details, so buckle up. I will do just that. So how I met my future husband. I got asked a lot if I live in a trailer park or small town with only a bar available. The answer is no. We actually live in a big city with a population of a couple million people. I met my fiancé through a mutual friend. My girlfriend was dating one of George's colleagues, and they all began to hang out for drinks after work since they were all in the same building. At some point, I had no plans for that day, and my girlfriend invited me to go with them to a bar, and this is how we were introduced. After this, we started having different group activities together, and things slowly progressed. George targeted his ex's younger sister-in-law to spite her, / there was no coincidence that we started dating. As absurd as it may sound, it was indeed an ironic coincidence. You may think out of the millions of people there are in a city, what are the chances for you starting dating your sister-in-law's ex? Well, it happened to me, and we did not know about it in the beginning. The girlfriend that asked me to go with them to a bar did not know Ella, never saw her in real life, and she never saw her with George. When George met me, he had no idea that I had any connection to Ella, so there was no chance for him to be an evil mastermind and intentionally date me just to spite her. Why am I getting "it ends with us" vibes? Anyone else? Chances of this being simply a coincidence very low for me. I did not take George home to meet my family immediately either. Maybe I am the weird one, but I was never the type to parade my boyfriends in front of my parents if I was not sure the relationship was going to last. I broke the girl's code. I do not consider that I did. Let's be clear, I have a couple of true friends. They have been my friends for many years, and I would do anything for them. I am a very loyal person, and I know the girl code very well. When we eventually found out the connection Ella had with the both of us, I was shocked, and I asked the same question that many of you did. What were the chances? It was a very uncomfortable position to be in. Even though I had no relationship with Ella except the obvious one of her being my sister-in-law, it was strange to know that they dated. I wanted to find out what happened before taking any decision, and I did. The way I saw things, there was no reason for me to punish George for having a past. We were in love, we were happy, and Ella was already married to my brother. I may have been selfish, but I thought, is this man and our relationship worth it? And the answer was yes. To me, he was, is, and will always be worth it. Also, we see my brother and Ella only a couple of times per year. Most of the time, for obvious reasons, we prefer to visit my parents separately. On George's addictions. So many of you reached out to me being concerned about this, and I wanted to thank you for caring and say that I'm sorry that you had to go through traumatic experiences with addicts. Some of your stories were hard to read, and I appreciate immensely that you were open to share your experiences with a stranger. I understand why most of you were triggered by my story, but George was not that type of addict. He had a lot of unresolved trauma. He was lonely, unloved, and ashamed, so his coping mechanisms were parties, alcohol, and drugs. His entourage was also not the best. You can imagine that a bunch of 36-year-old party boys or girls are no good, but at the end of the day, when everyone else went home to their families, wives, and kids, these were the people who could provide company to George. I think it was more like all of them providing company to each other so that they could feel less lonely. But other than this, George was a functional adult. He had a stable, well-paying job. He was and is still working as a software engineer. He was never violent, etc. George changed for me. No, George changed for himself and because he wanted to. He told me that I was the trigger that made him want to get his life in order, but in a more meaningful way than to just wanting to get into my pants. When we started hanging out as a group with my friend and his colleague, he learned how easy it was to interact and have fun without drugs or alcohol. He also saw that I enjoyed spending time with him. I looked forward to seeing him every time, and he understood that his sober self is not unlovable. He was longing for healthy relationships and normality, but until that moment, he felt like he was not deserving to have them. I think the way I helped him was solely because I saw and fell in love with his true self, and that gave him confidence and purpose. I am the golden child. There is no such thing in our family. My parents love my brother and I the same. Of course, when they heard Ella's bullshit the first time, they were worried for me, but I was open with them. I told them how things happened, George was honest and never hid his troubled past from them, and in the end, they were okay with our relationship. My parents trust me, trust my judgment, and they only want to see me happy. And in regards to Ella, my parents are just doing what every parent should: defend their child. She was warned before. My parents talked to her, asked her to stop acting like this, and told her that she is out of line, so it's not like they kicked her out the first time it happened. Now on to the updates. Yesterday, I contacted my brother and asked him to meet me for coffee. It was only the two of us, and I think it was the first time that I've opened my heart like this in front of him. I started off by apologizing for him being caught in the middle, but I told him that I will never apologize or be sorry for loving George. I was honest, and I told him how much this situation has been affecting me. My brother is the same age as my fiancé, so he's 11 years older than me. During our childhood, he was my protector, the person that I looked up to. Due to our age difference, we never really had many activities in common, and I could not wait for the moment I grow up so I can get to share more with my brother as adults. But I did not get the chance to do this because of Ella. David would always teach me to value myself, to choose people who treat me right and make me happy. However, I am not able to share my happiness with anyone. I understand why he would wish I never met George, but it still hurts knowing that your brother somehow resents the source of your happiness. David would always defend me when I was younger, even in front of our parents. When I was 15, I was experimenting with makeup and it looked bad. Really bad. During a family function, one of our uncles got drunk and told me to stop using makeup because I was too young to look like a hooker. Oh my god. David got mad and kicked him out for offending his sister. This is the kind of brother he used to be, and to now see that he stays aside and allows his wife to be this offensive and cruel is really hurtful. I don't care that she is like that towards me. I don't like Ella at all, and I could easily ignore her, but what gets to me the most is she's constantly trying to belittle and humiliate my future husband. I have lived with this man for 2 years. I have shared so many things with him during this time, and I'm certain that I know better what kind of man he is. I know how hard it was for him to heal all of his trauma. I know how hard he worked day by day to become the best version of himself. I know how much he loves me, protects me, supports me, and I simply lose it when I hear her crap and how she's constantly trying to bring him down. Yes, I go bear mode when he is involved, as someone told me in the comments, but I don't care. I will not allow any of my family members to abuse the person I love. I may have tolerated things for my brother's sake, but I will never be quiet in front of his bitch of a wife. You tell him, OP. I told my brother that I love him, and I will always cherish the memories that I have with him, but we cannot go on like this. I understand he's a victim, and I'm ready to do anything for him if he is willing to accept that his marriage is not good, that Ella is not a good woman and is abusing him. I cannot force him to divorce her because this has to be his choice, but I love him, and I will accept his decision no matter what that is. He will always be my brother, but George is my family now. We plan on having kids in the near future, and there is no way in hell I will ever allow this lunatic of a wife to be near my kids. I also refuse to subject George to the abuse. We tried. We thought that this rough period will eventually pass, and that everything will be okay. But unfortunately, Ella became more and more bitter and disgusting. We will see my parents, but I'm standing my ground and will not go to their house if she is present. David and I cried a lot, and for the first time in many years, I felt like I had my brother back. He apologized over and over again, and explained a lot of the things to me which gave me the chance to understand him better, but at the same time, I am so angry that I had no idea what was happening to my brother. Some people said that David was a rebound for Ella, but it seems they were both a rebound for the other. What made them marry so fast was the age pressure. My brother was feeling like it was very hard to connect with someone, and the prospect of being able to have a family of his own seemed very far away, until Ella came and offered him the possibility to have exactly what he wanted without too much struggle. So yeah, in the end, I guess we are all some messed up people in one way or another. I don't know what's gonna happen. David said he plans to take some time, go away alone for a couple of days, and think about what he wants to do. But he said that when he'll be back, he wants to have a chat with George to apologize to him as well for everything that has happened. My brother knows that everything Ella says is false. He said everyone is able to see how much George loves me, and that we make a great couple, and that there are times when he wished to also have something like this in his life. He told me he's proud of the woman that I've become, and that no matter what happens, I will always be his little sister. After this, I went home and cried some more with George beside me. I've tried to play strong and denied myself to feel hurt for so long that yesterday I finally exploded. But it was good, because now I feel better. Simply Simp says, remember to take care of your own emotional health as well, as this situation can be quite taxing. Surround yourself with positive friends and keep communicating with George. It's clear that you are both committed to each other, and that foundation is truly what matters. You are navigating a difficult situation with grace, and it's okay to prioritize your happiness and the people who truly support you. OP says, thank you. And Mary E. Friendly says, I genuinely hope that he leaves his disgusting wife. Everyone would be happier without her in the picture. Terra Alpaca says, I hope you pointed out to him that the chance to have family won't be too late for him in a long while. Look at Robert De Niro, who's become a dad again at 80. It's never too late to find love, and he doesn't need to accept a miserable future with a B like that, just because he's afraid to not get anyone. And OP says, yes, I did, and I talked to my parents, and we will target the topic full force when he comes back. I fear she is manipulating him with this in order to make him accept more than he should. Maybe convincing him that at their age, it is too late to find someone to start a family with. But hell, even my fiancé is willing to talk to him and use himself as an example that it is never too late, and you should not settle for toxic people. And Pippet says, it's hard to find yourself single in your late 30s. I know, but it's way worse to waste your life and love on a toxic partner. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.